A few years ago, I was stationed overseas with the US military. It was a poorer area, lots of petty crime, a few too many gray zones. But one racket in particular was a special kind of messed up. Here's how it worked. Local police gave people access to the inspection sticker database. If your sticker looked fake or expired, they'd break into your car, take everything inside, leave a note, and drop your stuff at the police station. When you showed up, you'd be forced to pay a fine and told to get a new inspection. Nice little side hustle, right? Well, one morning, I walked out to my car, and there it was, a note. All items taken to local police station. Your inspection sticker is fake. Except it wasn't. And now I'm late for work, and my kid is going to be late for school. There's no bus. We drive together every morning. But that wasn't even the real problem. In the glove box were our passports. Mine, my wife's, my kids'. I had put them there the night before, so I wouldn't forget. We had business on base, forms to fill out. My wife's passport had expired. I needed that paperwork. And now some random guy just confiscated them because he thought my inspection sticker looked wrong. I got to the station. I showed them the proof. The sticker was real. Inspection was valid. They apologized, said I could get my stuff back. I asked to file a police report. They looked at me like I had 3 heads. Nothing was stolen, they said. I said, someone broke into my locked car and took everything inside. They shrugged. It was procedure, not theft. So I changed tactics. I asked, where is my wife's passport? They said, whatever's here is what we got. I nodded, then said very calmly, all right, then I'll need a police report because I'm about to contact the US Embassy to report a stolen American passport. And I'll need to tell them that your station knows exactly who took it. That's when I saw the cop's face change. Instant regret. Panic, even. He tried to talk me out of it. Said it wasn't necessary. Maybe the passport would turn up. I smiled and filed the report anyway. Then I called the embassy, sent them everything, every detail, the report, the names, the time. They thanked me, said I'd get a new passport for free, and I did. But here's the kicker. Turns out, the guy who broke into my car got arrested, fined, and was looking at extra charges for messing with foreign documents. I wasn't there to see it, but I would have paid to watch that moment when the cops knocked on his door and told him to come with them. I don't feel bad, not one bit. I didn't break the law. I didn't cheat the system, but they did. And they picked the wrong car. Sometimes you don't need revenge. You just need a working embassy.
After 25 years of marriage, my mom finally divorced my manipulative father. She was heartbroken. And soon after, she introduced us to her new boyfriend, Chris. Chris was a former inmate. DUI. Yeah, red flag. But Mom said he made her feel happy again. And after everything she'd been through, that was enough for me. Me, my brother, and my sister all moved in with Mom and Chris. At first, things were fine. Chris and I even bonded over video games. Until 2017. One day, Chris didn't come back from a probation check-in. We were worried. Then we got a call from Texas. Turns out, he was grabbed by the FBI. He'd been involved unknowingly, he claimed, in a drug-related crime with his family. He agreed to testify, got a reduced sentence, and eventually got released before the trial. He returned home, got his old job back managing a DQ. Mom forgave everything. But then, he started drinking. Half a case of beer a day. No exaggeration. He was a mean drunk. He yelled, insulted, blamed the world. Mom defended him, said the trial stress was getting to him. Until one night, he came home completely wasted. Mom asked him if he'd been drinking. He didn't deny it, so she kicked him out. We helped her pack up some of his stuff. He wasn't allowed back. Only Mom's name was on the lease. That's when Betty showed up. Betty, his coworker, and my former classmate. She pulled Mom aside, told her everything. Chris was cheating with a woman named Darla, at work, on site, in the manager's office. Betty had caught them. Chris threatened her job if she told anyone. And then she dropped the bomb. Darla was pregnant. Mom was devastated, but not frozen. She told us to clear out every single thing he owned, throw it all in the alley. Chris had no legal right to the home. We dumped everything. She called him. He admitted everything. Said he was happy Darla was pregnant, because now he'd finally have a child of his own. No apology. No shame. Mom had the cops present when he came to pick up his trash, and that was it. She was done. But we weren't. First, we called his employer. EQ is a franchise, and the owner was an old friend. We told him everything. About the cheating, the threats, the sex acts on company property. Chris was fired, permanently banned from all locations. That he got promoted. Still runs the place today. Chris moved in with Darla in another town. Found another DQ job. We found out. Called that owner too. Took longer, but he lost that job too. Then he started driving around our neighborhood, watching, stalking. We knew he didn't have a license. Probation never lifted. We called the cops, reported the car, gave them everything. Weeks later, he was arrested, driving drunk, no license. But wait, it gets better. The cops searched the home. They found guns. He's a felon. Can't have firearms. More charges. More jail time. And when his sentence ended, he was sent back to Texas to face the original trial. Darla gave birth while he was in prison. Realized what a mess he was. Cut ties. He started sending Mom letters from prison, begging, blaming, crying. then apologizing, all in the same page. She burned them all. Now he lives in Kansas, alone, broke, owes child support, fighting a losing battle. Mom, she's happy. She has someone kind now. My brother and sister moved on, and I still live with her, helping renovate our new home. Life is peaceful, finally. And if Chris ever hears this story, I hope he realizes he lost everything by his own hand.
After my ex-husband died, I thought the drama would end. But instead, it exploded. He died in an accident, leaving behind 2 sons with his affair partner. And 2 daughters, my daughters. Teenagers. Grieving. Hurting. But the in-laws, they wanted custody of my daughters and to move in with us. We said no, and that's when they got ugly. Last weekend, I took my youngest daughter to the farmer's market. It was her birthday. Her party's later this month, but I gave her a budget and said, "Get anything you want." She came back in tears. 6 older women had cornered her from church, calling her unchristian, accusing her of abandoning her orphan baby brothers, and dishonoring her grandparents. She was crying, shaking. I rushed over, told my older daughter to get the car. Then I turned to the women and gave them every word they deserved. They said I wasn't a good Christian wife, that I was turning my daughters into cold-hearted sinners. The yelling got so bad we were all kicked out of the market. They followed us to the car, staring, judging, vultures. That night, I messaged someone from their church, one of the few decent ones. He apologized. Then he told me what was happening. My ex-mill had posted a sob story in the church's Facebook group. She claimed we abandoned her, took her son's inheritance, refused to take in our sons. She even said the affair partner was our surrogate, that I rejected the boys because they were male. That's when I saw red. The divorce wasn't finalized when my ex died. I had legal access to everything. Messages, photos, his confessions, his parents supporting the cheating. Emails where they called my daughters bastards, said it was their fault their dad died, because they told me the truth. So I printed it all, high quality color, bound it into hymn book style binders. The first page, a full photo of my ex making out with his mistress in our living room. Their faces were clear. The caption, ex-husbands and affair partners, a love story. I took the binders and slipped them into the back of the church before Sunday service, right where they keep extra hymn books. The reaction was immediate. People exploded in the Facebook group, calling out the lies, calling my ex and his mistress names so harsh the pastor had to step in to keep it PG-13. They were horrified at how my daughters were treated. And yet, some still said I was wrong for divorcing my husband. But others said, it's understandable. After such a betrayal, perhaps she'll find her way back to the light. My daughters, they got 2 handwritten apology letters and an invitation to join the congregation for support. My ex-mill, she's been shamed out of the church. She posted about how isolated she feels, how no one cares for the elderly, how her great son would have taken care of her. With what money? I was the breadwinner. Some may say I went too far, that I should have turned the other cheek. But I didn't start this. She dragged my daughters through lies and public humiliation. All I did was let the truth speak louder than her fiction. And now, we're at peace. Finally.
It all started at 2:45 in the morning. I fired up my truck, and it sounded like a jet engine. Yup, someone stole my catalytic converters. Or tried to. What they didn't know was that the cats were already hollow, totally worthless. They also didn't know that my neighbor has security cameras. And now I knew exactly who did it. Two local morons cruising around in a beat-up ex-police Crown Victoria. No plates, no insurance, no working taillights. I didn't call the cops. I called my buddy in code enforcement, told him what I was gonna do. He passed it along to the police, and I got the green light. I spotted their car parked on a quiet street, called it in, hooked it up, and towed it straight to the police station. They ran the VIN. Hadn't been registered since 2011. Turns out the kids didn't even own it. They bought it without a title, and it owed thousands in back registration. Police said, "Take it to the junkyard. We'll get a black title, certificate of destruction." Meanwhile, the two idiots were freaking out, running all over town, asking their friends who stole their car. That's when they found it, sitting in the junkyard. And they came up with a plan. One distracts the owner. The other sneaks in to steal the car. But the junkyard guys knew who they were. So, before they got there, they cut the drive shaft. They tried to drive off, didn't get 3 feet. Got arrested on the spot for attempted theft. And while they were in cuffs, they got to watch. A crane rolled up, grabbed the Crown Vic, and shredded it right in front of them. I showed up later and saw what was left. Looked like a toddler ripped it apart out of boredom. They're out of jail now, but haven't left their trailer. I drove by the other day, saw a beat-up Jeep Liberty in the driveway. No plates. Again. Already working with the cops. Next time I see it on the road, I won't miss the show.